Yo, what's up, guys? We are going to go through some bets on a bunch of different sports books. So on these live streams, I try to focus on the books that are legal in the most possible states: Fliff, FanDuel, PrizePicks, all the main books. Yesterday, we had a pretty good live stream if you tuned into it. So we actually went 5 for 5 on our Fliff plays. I think we had an underdog play. I'll have to check how that did, but we did pretty good on the live stream plays. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through a bunch of plays. I mean, let's lock in some bets. So all that this betting tool does, this is called the OddsJam Positive EV tool, is all this tool does, very simple, is it scans the market and points out value. There are millions of different things we can bet on Fliff. We got the NFL tonight. We got Thursday Night Football. We're going to look at some plays in Thursday Night Football. We also have a ton of NBA games tonight. So all this tool is going to do is scan through the market, point out value. Where can you get good odds on a particular sports book? What's really fascinating about sports betting is all these books set their own odds, right? They all set their own lines. So what we want to do as a sports bettor is just kind of zone in on, okay, where, if you use Fliff, this book right here, Fliff, it's legal in basically every state. Where are they offering good value, right? So if you take a look at Looney, this can be the first bet we lock in. Looney under 19.5 PRAs. So they have a search button. I've said this before, but the quicker you can move, the better. And where are player props? So let's take a look here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a bunch of bets, explain things along the way, but I'm going to try to move quickly just so these lines don't move on us. I mean, if you've been on previous live streams, some of the best bets, they don't last forever. So we want to try to move quickly. So here we can go to player props, and then I'm just going to go to Looney PRAs, and we can lock this in. So this will be our first bet, right? Looney PRAs under 19.5 PRAs at -120. And I'll lock this in. And the maximum you can bet on Fliff is $250. These Fliff coins are, they're bullshit. They don't actually do anything. So, these Fliff coins, I just bet 1 million Fliff coins. They don't do anything. What you want to focus on is Fliff cash. So why do we like this bet? Why does it have a 2.86% profit margin? And again, really the crazy thing about sports betting is just, your ROI is daily. When you're betting on sports, if you have a 3% profit margin on your NBA bets, that's 90% ROI over the course of a month, since you're betting on things that are that day. And again, like if you look at Fliff, they are the only sports book with Looney's over 19.5 PRAs favored. All these other books, Pinnacle is known to be one of the sharpest, one of the smartest books. They've all ripped Looney to being a pretty big favorite to go under. I mean, you can see Caesars, they've ripped this line all the way down to -163. Pinnacle, known to be the sharpest book out there, they've ripped him down to -166. So books are always moving odds, based on where sharp action's coming in, injuries, lineup changes. That's why you want to look at historical data. Like a lot of people like to look at these last 5 grabs on PrizePicks, but they're pretty useless, right? Like, oh, Geno Smith, he went over in 3 out of his last 5 games. We should bet the over. It's like, no, like every game is different. They're playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a better defense. There's injuries. There's lineup changes, weather in the NFL. All that stuff is baked into the market, the odds that books are putting out, which is why you want to look at sportsbook odds, find value in the market as your main step for finding profitable bets. So here we got another play. I mean, we might as well start with Fliff. Or we can go over to PrizePicks. I mean, we'll kind of bounce around. I always say, I recommend use as many books as you can. The more books you use, the better. So where do we want to go to next? So we got some esports plays on PrizePicks. And esports is a great sport to bet on. I mean, a lot of people don't bet on esports because they don't know much about it. But what's great about esports is if you think about the NFL, there's only one game today. Look at esports. I mean, these books have tons of surface area to cover. There's, dozens of games at the minimum every single day between the different leagues. So that means there's a lot of opportunity for books to screw up. So like if you look at this player, ZJJ, PrizePicks has his line at 7, right? This is the line on PrizePicks, 7 on the fantasy optimizer. Underdog has his line at 6, like pretty big difference. So anyways, let's try to find some PrizePicks plays. So the first play that OddsJam is recommending, and this play is for, I mean, it's going to be a controversial play, but whatever, is we have Jalen Hurts. Again, like he's obviously had a great season. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the previous games, but OddsJam is recommending we take his under half of a rushing touchdown. Okay, so like if we look at Jalen Hurts, so if you go over, and this is just one of the books that you can kind of look at, they're obviously playing the 49ers, much better defense. So who really cares if he went over the past games? Again, everything is baked into the market. The odds books are putting out. They're moving around their odds based on where sharp action is coming in. But if you go here, if you take a look at Jalen Hurts, and you can obviously skip over this play if you don't like it, if you love Jalen Hurts, is the sports books have his under super heavily favored, right? So if you want to play Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown, you at least shouldn't be betting this on PrizePicks because it's a horrible price, horrible odds. Like PrizePicks is minus 119 odds. If you kind of go through the math behind PrizePicks, we want to take his under because, again, all of the sports books have him heavily favored. He's a minus 165 favorite to not have a rushing touchdown. So controversial play for sure, but that's what the data's saying. And again, like if his over should be favored, all the sharp bettors would have already bet his over until it was favored. This is a market. Books are always moving around lines based on where action's coming in. Like you can see the total's been moving higher in the Hawks-Spurs game. So maybe we actually just lock this in while we're at it. So we can go over to the Hawks-Spurs game. And where is this game? So again, like in these live streams, I don't know what books you use. Every sports book is kind of legal in a different state, but I just try to focus on the books that are legal in the most possible states. So we want to go here, and then you want to go to alternate total. So we don't want to take this play on Jalen Hurts. And then what did we want to bet? So we want to bet the over 246 points at minus 125 odds. And you can see right here, their odds don't even make sense, right? So they're over 245.5 is minus 140, right? They're giving you minus 125 on the over 246 and then minus 130 on the over 246.5. So if you think about it, this doesn't make any sense, right? They're giving you worse odds on over 246.5 as opposed to over 246. Like they should be giving you better odds on over 246.5, right? The odds should continue to get better as the total goes higher. So clearly their model is screwing up somewhere, and that's an opportunity for us. We want to see the soft spots on books, spots where they're screwing up. So now we have 2 plays locked in. Let's go back to PrizePicks. Let's try to finish out this PrizePicks slip. So the first play we have is Jalen Hurts, no touchdown. There's some esports plays. Where do we want to start? So a lot of esports plays right now. I mean, we can look at Underdog as well. I kind of have a bunch of different sports books pulled up. I'm not sure how the play did on Underdog yesterday. We got a good start here. But anyways, let's try to see if there's more opportunity on Underdog Fantasy or PrizePicks. So it looks like there's some good bets on Underdog Fantasy. A lot of these plays, though, a lot of these esports plays, what kind of sucks about esports is when you think about betting on the NBA, it's a super liquid, it's a super active market. You have millions of dollars being bet every night. These books are constantly, you can see Pinnacle, sharpest book right here. These books are constantly moving around their odds based on where action's coming in, right? Very liquid market. So, whereas esports, there's just not as many books that post lines compared to like NBA player props. If you think about CSGO, CS2, there's only a few books that are posting lines, that are posting odds. So you're kind of like less confident in your edge, whereas when you think about the NBA, there's dozens of books posting odds. So if I could get, the Cavs at minus 200, when all these other books have them, minus 600, minus 500, that'd be a no-brainer. There's all these books with sophisticated models, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, MGM, all these billion-dollar companies posting odds. Obviously getting them at minus 200 would be a no-brainer. Whereas esports, you just have less books, kind of posting odds. But anyways, let's try to find some plays. So where do we want to start? I mean, the first play is we could take Pollard, no rushing touchdown. There's some opportunity in esports, which, again, I highly encourage you to be betting on. In general, like these plays where just PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy are posting lines, in general, PrizePicks tends to be the sharper side, the smarter sports book. So in general, I try to take the plays on Underdog Fantasy. But let's just go back to PrizePicks. I mean, let's see if we can finish out a slip. So we have Jalen Hurts, no rushing touchdown. The next play OddsJam is recommending. And again, you don't have as many data points in esports as the NBA. So, less attractive. But is Babetsky over 28.5 map 1, map 2 kills. So if we take a look at, CSGO lines, PrizePicks has his line at 28.5. Even if you don't use Underdog, it's another book with a sophisticated model. They have the line at 30, right? JockMKT has the line at 30.5. Those are 2 data points telling us, hey, like PrizePicks has the line too low. Kind of like if you could buy a stock, Facebook at $280, a $43 discount to the market, seems like a pretty good deal. The market's based on supply and demand. So again, not a ton of data points, but still, the other 2 data points have the line higher. It's like, okay, maybe that's a good play to go with. Maybe that's a play with value that we want to be on. We can also go to like NFL. Do they have what other touchdown lines do they have up? Whoa. So PrizePicks put up a ton of touchdown lines for this weekend. So we can actually take a look at these touchdown lines and see if books started to post odds. So like David Montgomery, for example, let's take a look at this. David Montgomery is a slight favorite, minus 130 favorite, minus 127 on Pinnacle, minus 130 on ESPN. He's a slight favorite to score a touchdown. So the way that PrizePicks works, right, is they have fixed payouts. You take the over, you take the under, you get the same payout. So David Montgomery, if all the books have him favored to go over, all of the betting markets, these books with sophisticated models, we'd rather take his over than his under. But again, he's only a slight favorite to score a touchdown. Like minus 130 is not that big of a deal. Whereas Travis Etienne, you can see, let's take a look at him. And they don't even have him listed yet. So other books don't even have Travis listed yet. So Travis Kelce, very slight favorite to not score a touchdown. But again, like that's not what we're looking for. We want to see big favorites. We want to see players that are really heavily favored to score a touchdown or not score a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, slightly favored to not score a touchdown. That's not what we're looking for, but I'm sure we'll find some good plays. Kyron Williams, slightly favored to not score a touchdown. We can look up, Rashad White, slightly favored to not score a touchdown. So ideally, we want to see where sportsbooks have, a player just like Jalen Hurts. Like, where's he a big favorite? Minus 165 odds to score a touchdown or to not score a touchdown. I mean, minus 134 is, not particularly fond of it. I mean, Zach Moss, Najee Harris. Let's kind of see. I'm sure we'll find some plays. So Zach Moss, is there anything? Yeah, Pinnacle has him slightly favored to not score. ESPN slightly favored to score. I mean, kind of annoying, but it looks like they're pretty dialed in, at least so far, on their touchdown lines. We got Alvin Kamara, slight favorite to not score. But again, nothing like incredible. We can look up Austin Eckler, slight favorite to score. I mean, you can see ESPN. They have the same odds on the over and the under. So that's not what we want. That's not what we're looking for. We want to see spots where books have one side of the market, heavily favored. So we can look up Tyreek, slight favorite to score. I mean, in general, there's not a ton of value in these touchdown scores right now. So that's just how it goes. Sometimes if there's no value, I'm not going to force a bet. So we can go back to PrizePicks. And we got a couple plays, but maybe we can find some more. So one thing to mention, though, what's nice about PrizePicks that you can't do on Underdog Fantasy is on Underdog, you can't bet on esports players from the same team to go the same direction. So like we found this line discrepancy, the spot with value in League of Legends, ZJJ, 7 on PrizePicks, 6 on Underdog Fantasy. So we have this spot where, okay, like there's this discrepancy in the market. That's what we want to see. Like you want to see value in the market. If you're placing bets at plus 400 when all the other books are giving you better odds, plus 427, plus 475, I don't care how much basketball you watch. Trailblazers plus 400 is a horrible bet because you're getting ripped off relative to the rest of the market. if you're an investor, a day trader, getting ripped off, you're not going to make money. Same thing, in sports betting. But anyways, you can see OddsJam is recommending we take ZJJ under 7. Underdog has the line lower at 6. So it's like, okay, we got one play. And what we can do is try to find some correlated outcomes, right? And by that, I mean, if a player is on the same team, so where is this guy? So let's actually refresh this. If you find players on the same team in esports who are, positively, these players are positively correlated to go the same direction. So just like if we could find value on, let's say, Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, or Dak and CD Lamb, like obviously on PrizePicks, which is a fixed payout platform, they always give you the same payout. Like if you're going to take Geno's over, it probably makes sense to take Metcalf's over. If Geno has a great game, throws for 400 yards, Metcalf's more likely to go over as well. It wouldn't make any sense to take Geno over and Metcalf under because you're getting the same payout. And obviously if the quarterback goes over, the wide receiver is more likely to go over. So in esports and League of Legends, players on the same team, ZJJ and Udang, these players are positively correlated to go the same direction, just like CD Lamb over, Dak Prescott over in yards. Those plays are positively correlated. In League of Legends, you want to take players on the same team to go the same direction. So we got ZJJ under 7, and it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. We got a CS2 play. We now have 2 correlated esports plays. And then it's just like, okay, is there anything else, we're kind of in love with? Donovan Mitchell, under 5 assists. How do we feel about this? It's like, okay, let's take a look. So Donovan Mitchell under 5 assists. So OddsJam is recommending this play. So it looks like the most random slip of all time. But if that's where the value is, that's where the value is. So we can actually go to the NBA. We can go to the Cavs game. And if we look at player assists and we look at Mitchell, right, you can see they have his, there's a pretty big swing, plus 110 to minus 198 between his over and his under. So if you think about it, under 5.0 would be the midpoint, right? Like FanDuel has lines up for 4.5 and 5.5 for Donovan Mitchell getting 4.5 and 5.5 assists. So if you took the midpoint, he would be plus 100 on the over, right? Minus 146, plus 146. So if you take the midpoint, plus 100 would be the over. And then the under would be, like minus 144. So the under 5.0, the midpoint would still be kind of favored. So that's why OddsJam's recommending this play is like, again, like there can be, even though FanDuel doesn't exactly have a line for 5.0, they have 4.5 and 5.5. Donovan Mitchell, 4.5 and 5.5 assists up. So you just take the midpoint, you get what 5.0 would be, right? What Donovan Mitchell over under 5 would be, where if he has exactly 5 assists, you're going to push. So this seems like a good play to go with. And again, like, I would love to bet this shit for $500, but PrizePicks only gives me $25 max bet size on my plays. Anyone you see slamming shit for $400 on PrizePicks, they've limited all their profitable customers. Anyone slamming stuff for $400, they're not making money long-term, right? PrizePicks cuts down the bet sizes pretty aggressively. And it's the same with Underdog Fantasy. Like, believe me, like, Brock Purdy, I got him over 248.5 yards. Let's see where he is now. He's actually back at 248.5. So I have no idea what happened. Maybe the other books were wrong, but like, long story short, could only get 20 on it, but would have put more down. So we got to play on PrizePicks. Now we can go over to Underdog. I kind of bounce around from book to book, Again, like you really never know where the value is going to be on a given day. So Underdog Fantasy, it's very similar to PrizePicks. The only really difference, and again, here's the play I locked in on PrizePicks. Right? The only really difference between PrizePicks and Underdog is, on Prize is the payouts. So for 3 pick entries on PrizePicks, any 3 picks you select, overs, unders, right? Replace this with a basketball pick. I mean, what the fuck ever. You're getting a 5x payout. Whereas on Underdog Fantasy, it's 20 to win 120. when I used to have better betting limits at the start of the season, you can see it's, whatever it is, 400 to win 800, or sorry, that's a 5-pick entry, but you get the point. It's a 6x payout, 500 to win 3,000. So the optimal number of picks you go with on each of these platforms is a little different. So the first play OddsJam's recommending is Ozek under 31.5, under 31.5 first 2 map kills. And again, this isn't super complicated. It's not meant to be super complicated. It's really just pointing out, it's just pointing out value in the market at the end of the day. Not meant to be a super complicated product. So Ozek, his line here is 31.5, right? We want to know, where do other sportsbooks have the line set? It would be an absolute disaster to take this player to go over 31.5, considering other books have his line at 27.5. It's just kind of rational, right? If you're getting ripped off, where's this guy? If you're taking him to go over 31.5, when other books, you could get 4 kills. Never did I think I'd be betting on kills, but you could get over 27.5. You're getting fucking ripped off on Underdog Fantasy. And it shouldn't be that complicated. If you're getting ripped off, if you're a trader who has to buy Facebook at $350 and you're constantly getting ripped off, you're never going to make money, right? Finding value in the market is literally the first step to being a profitable sports bettor. And again, this play on ZJJ, it's that's a crazy line discrepancy. You will never see an NBA player, aside from Taco Tuesday, you're not going to see an NBA player at 7 on PrizePicks and 6 rebounds, whatever. Donovan Mitchell, 7 rebounds on PrizePicks, 6 rebounds on Underdog. It's not going to happen. So what you could do is you could middle bet this, right? Hit him to go over 6. And you can see fucking Underdog, only a $20 max bet size. Again, anyone able to slam stuff for $400, they don't know what they're doing. They're not profitable. Otherwise, Underdog would have cut their bet sizes down, which they did recently to all their profitable customers. So 7-6, right? This is, again, we want to see opportunities in the market where there are discrepancies. So if we were to hit the over 6 and the under 7, if he has exactly 6 kills, we're going to push on Underdog. And you can see these assholes already locked it, but we're going to win on PrizePicks. If he were to have 7, we push on PrizePicks. We would have at least won on Underdog Fantasy, but it looks like they locked that. So we'll have to find one more play on Underdog. And again, there's a ton of NBA today. I've explained this before, but depending on the day, how many games there are, the number of bets I place, and the number of bets you should place will change. On days where there's a lot of sports, a lot of opportunity, if you have a lot of sports books, there may be a ton of good bets. And again, depending on injury news, right? All this stuff moves around market. Players getting injured, players being questionable. If Hayes or if LeBron James isn't playing tonight, that's going to affect all the other players. Anthony Davis, his points line, his rebounds line, his assist line, everything has to move in the game. It's not just the money line. It affects every other player. So all these lines have to move. And again, because every sports book sets their own lines, they all set lines independently. Whoa. Lines are always moving. So let's lock in this play real quick. Damn. So we want Dame Lillard under 3.5 threes. So sometimes you can see too, sometimes it's if news comes out in the Bucks game, you'll see whatever. It kind of makes sense why there's opportunities. So Trey Murphy plans to make a season debut. But anyways, let's go here and let's just lock this in quickly before the line moves. Damn, did they move this up to plus 105? So again, all these books have different models, setting different odds. They're taking slightly different bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. So it looks like Fliff moved this up to plus 105. Damian Lillard under 3.5 threes. So some UFC plays kind of starting to pop up. But anyways, let's take a look at this. What are they doing? It looks like all the other books have started to rip odds. You can pull up these line movement charts on OddsJam. All these other books have started to rip odds towards Dame's going towards Dame going under. So I'm going to lock this in. Are they going to give me plus 105? So they updated to plus 100. So OddsJam, I guess, updated it before the app did. So I'll take the odds change. So now we have 3 bets on Fliff that I've hit. And again, I definitely recommend getting Fliff. It's legal in basically every state in the US, but we have 1, 2, 3 bets. I really think of it as creating a diversified portfolio of bets. Every bet has an edge. Kind of like when you're an investor, you invest in different stocks, companies. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. If there's a bunch of opportunities that are all profitable, you're actually reducing your variance, reducing your risk by betting on a bunch of good bets, by betting on a bunch of positive, EV plays, positive plays that have a positive expected return. So we just locked in Dame Lillard under 3.5 threes at plus 100. So why is this play good? Plus 100, right? If you think about what is plus 100, you're betting 100 to win 100. It's basically like flipping a coin with a friend for $100. Heads, you get 100. Tails, your friend gets 100, right? But in this case, the coin is weighted in our favor, right? The coin is more likely to show up on heads. All these other sports books, Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, all these books, those are $3 billion companies with sophisticated models. They also have access to flow. And by flow, I mean they see where sharp customers are betting. They're not fucking stupid, right? FanDuel knows which of its it's a $10 billion company. They know which of its customers are smart, right? They see the action coming in. So they're constantly moving around lines based on where action's coming in, lineup changes, injuries, stuff like that. Is all these books have Dame, they have his under favored. Bet Online, which is known to be a really sharp sports book, one of the sharpest books, they have Dame as a minus 149 favorite to go under. So kind of like from a gut check perspective, it's like, yeah, like Fliff is pretty damn good value. But if you want to think about how to think about it mathematically, why is this bet profitable? It's like flipping a coin for $100 where the coin is weighted in your favor. All the books have Dame's under favored. Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet Online. So you can see DraftKings just keeps ripping his odds lower. All these books have him favored to go under 3.5 made threes. And we're getting him at plus 100, flipping a coin that's weighted in our favor. So it's like, that's a great bet to add. So now we have 3 bets there. We have 1 bet on PrizePicks. So we're kind of like, again, like creating a diversified portfolio of bets. We got Brandon Aubrey over 7.5 kicking points. So it's like, okay, this is a play we can go with. And I'm not sure how this play pairs with Tony Pollard not scoring. Obviously, if the Cowboys are kicking field goals, then he's more likely to go over 7.5 kicking points, and Pollard's less likely to score, like if the Cowboys are shooting more field goals. So this actually may be positively correlated. So we'll just lock this in. I mean, $20 to win 120. And here we go. We have a nice little 3-pick entry. And again, like when you're betting on things in the same game, all you want to think about kind of is correlation. So we have really good value on the CSGO play, but if Brandon Aubrey is kicking a bunch of field goals, he's more likely to go over in kicking points, and Pollard is less likely to score a touchdown. So these plays kind of line up. We want more Cowboy field goals tonight, long story short, because that means Pollard staying out of the end zone, and Brandon Aubrey's getting kicking points. So we can refresh this. And again, some of these plays move quickly. I mean, it's really weird when you start sports betting, you don't think about like the fact that these odds are, whoa. Here's another one, Braden Cooks. I could have taken this. Braden Cooks under 3.5 receptions. That play looks good as well. And then we also have this play on freeze. So again, the reason I skipped this play on freeze is on Underdog, you can't play players in the same game in esports. So I wouldn't have been able to bet it. Braden Cooks. So they didn't have a receptions line up for Braden Cooks, but if we refresh, they should have a receptions line up now. Again, OddsJam is just constantly reading in all this data. So Underdog didn't have a receptions line up for Cooks. They just put it up, and now there's actually really good value on Braden Cooks under 3.5 receptions. So let's go back here. And we want to take freeze under 27.5 as well. And we can also refresh this. So here you see this play on Cooks. It's also on the OddsJam, positive EV tool. So again, the way that Underdog works is they give you the same payout, right? If you take his over or his under, you're always getting the same payout. So all of the sports books, all of the market data points, right? All these books have him heavily favored to go under 3.5 receptions, which is why that's a good bet to go with. But unfortunately, on Underdog, you want to play 3-pick entries. Those are the optimal slip. And, there's not enough value right now. So it's like, okay, oh my God. So what is happening in the Warriors game? So oftentimes, again, you can correlate this. So you can see news comes out. Andrew Wiggins is listed out on Thursday. His finger hurts, I guess. Now there's a bunch of plays showing up in the Warriors game, right? The market has to move. All books have to adjust their odds, but they're all setting lines independently, and they're not going to do it perfectly. So it looks like a lot of books, they just pool odds, period. So like if we go to NBA player points and you look at Klay Thompson, most books just removed his line. And they will start to put him back up. So we kind of have this limited time range to try to wait to see okay. And you can see it looks like they just pulled the Warriors game completely. But Looney over 6.5 points now seems pretty good. But again, this is a lot of the same plays in general. So maybe there will be some good plays that pop up on Underdog Fantasy. Donovan Mitchell, under 5 assists. We already have that on PrizePicks. So we can go back here and, we don't have enough plays on Underdog Fantasy. I'm not going to force a bet. So here we go. Here we have another play, right? This looks like another good bet. 49ers first half point spread -1.5. So if we go to the 49ers game, obviously the Eagles, have had a lot of second half wins recently. But if we look at the point spread, if we think about this from a mathematical standpoint, so again, this will be the 4th bet we lock in on Fliff. 49ers, and obviously the game's a few days away, but if you don't place this bet, the line's going to move. These great betting opportunities, they don't last forever. So being early is better than nothing. Of course, Brock Purdy could get injured and lines could rip towards the Eagles, but also Jalen Hurts could get injured in practice. All these things are random. If there's a good bet, you should place it now because it's not going to be available forever. But if you look at the 49ers -1.5 first half spread, DraftKings has the 49ers slightly favored, right? So it's the same thing as the Dame Lillard play. Bovada and Bodog, they have the 49ers -1.5 favored. Pinnacle, which is, again, this book is known to be the sharpest bookmaker. And, you can see why, they have articles on themselves on, why they accept arbitrage, why they accept sharp action. Essentially, Pinnacle's business model, is take a lot of bets from smarter customers and allow them to get decent sized action down, not limit as aggressively as Underdog Fantasy, which gives $20 fucking max bet sizes. So they have the most accurate lines because they take on the most sharp action. And you can see, they have the 49ers -1.5 favored as well. So it's the same thing as that Dame Lillard play. When you want to think about the logic of it, kind of the math behind it. So this happens a lot too, is a lot of times when there's a good bet, we already have this play in the Hawks game. And a lot of times, there will be 2 good bets. So this is called a ladder, is when you place 2 bets actually on the same game in the same market. So we already bet the over 246. This was a play with value. But again, a lot of these books offer these alternate spreads, alternate totals. So if there's also value on the 246 or 247, again, because they only have a $250 max bet size, it's I'm going to lock this in as well. If they had unlimited bet sizes, I would just play the higher profit margin play, 1.2%. Again, that compounds to 36% a month, 30 days in a month, 1.2% ROI on your bets. And you can see all the books have been ripping odds towards the over, the rest of the betting markets. And the way that books make money is by charging a spread, right? Like, so Pinnacle, Fliff has the same odds. They have the same odds on the over and the under. Pinnacle right here, which is known to be the sharpest, the smartest sports book out there, sharpest book in the world, however you want to think about it. They have the over at minus 127, the under at plus 111. So they have a 16-cent spread in their market. 16 cents of juice, minus 127, plus 111. So when you remove the juice, you remove the VIG, the fair odds, the no VIG odds, this is the most important calculator in sports betting, are minus 118. We're getting minus 115 on Fliff. So we're beating, we're getting better odds. We're getting value to the true line from Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, with the VIG removed. So this is a great bet to go with. So it's like, okay, there are some new PrizePicks plays popping up. And a lot of these plays are just like, whatever, lower profit margin. I mean, we have Kane to score a point. It's a lower profit margin. Like you can see, Underdog Fantasy doesn't have a player points line up currently on Kane. But if I refresh, this is why this good bet is occurring now, right? They didn't have a line available. Now they do. And unfortunately, they got rid of the play on Tony Pollard. On Braden Cooks. But you can see all of the sports books have Kane, including Pinnacle, the sharpest book. They have him heavily favored to score a point. So that would be a great play to go with. So we can actually go back here to the fantasy optimizer. But anyways, whatever. So, okay. Maybe we can find some good bets. Klay Thompson over 21.5 points plus rebounds. So again, Wiggins is out. That's going to move around the market. So if we go to points plus rebounds and we take a look at Klay, all the other books have adjusted him. Underdog Fantasy, ESPN Bet, all these other little shitheads have moved him to 22.5, right? All the other books, these books are all data points. Even if you think you're the smartest person in the world, like, finding value in the market, obviously a good thing. So what we can do is we can go here. So we have two of these previous plays. I mean, do we want to include more plays for the same game? So Klay Thompson, we want to take him over 21.5 points plus rebounds. I promise you this play is not going to be around a long time. Wiggins is out, right? So that's going to hurt us a bit. That's going to help Klay a bit. He's going to, be taking more shots. I'm not trying to print. So we have Klay over 21.5. We have Donovan Mitchell under 5 assists. So it's some plays from the same game. I mean, some people don't like to include the same play numerous times. But if all these plays have an edge, if the play has an edge, it doesn't really matter how many slips you include it in. You can include it in as many as you like. Again, I can only bet $25 per PrizePicks play, and they all have to be different. So I'm kind of stuck with what I got. So what else do we have? We have Mike Conley, right? Again, it's the same strategy on PrizePicks as an underdog. Like PrizePicks, they don't change your payout based on you selecting. And you can see Klay, boom, goes away. So again, like you got to be quick. And I'm trying to move as quick as I can on these live streams. But on PrizePicks, again, they have really shitty payouts, only 5x for these 3-pick entries. So you got to be playing these 5-pick entries. And it's harder to find 5 good picks as opposed to 4. But anyways, there are some other bets. So OddsJam will, kind of convert. So like, for example, in this fight, PrizePicks has this listed at Sean Brady over 12.5 minutes. 12.5 minutes in the UFC is the same as 2.5 rounds. So if you look at the sports books, all these books have been ripping this fight to go over 2.5 total rounds. Pinnacle has ripped to a minus 135 favorite on the over. So the over is more likely. 2.5 rounds, 12.5 minutes. This seems like a great play to go with, right? And again, like I would love to bet more on PrizePicks, but I can't. So that's just kind of how it is. And same thing for Mike Conley, right? All the books have his under heavily favored. All the books have him much more likely to go under 24.5 PRAs as opposed to over. And you have tons of different data points telling you that, right? And the market is based on where action's coming in, lineup changes, all that type of stuff. Just like the price of Facebook is where supply and demand meet of all investors in the world, all traders, sharps, investors, traders, whatever. They all wake up. They think about, is Facebook overvalued? Is it undervalued? Should I buy? Should I sell? They're running complicated models. And this is the price where supply and demand meet of all opinions in the world. And it's kind of the same thing here, right? In sports betting, like all the books are aligned that Mike Conley is a lot more likely to go under 24.5 PRAs as opposed to over. And on PrizePicks, if you go through the math behind PrizePicks, you'll see to be profitable on PrizePicks, all you got to do is win these over-unders, just like Mike Conley, over, under 24.5 PRAs. If you can win these over-unders above 54.25% of the time, you're going to be profitable, right? PrizePicks has fixed payouts. Like you'll see for our $25 flex plays, as thrilling as it is, you always get the same payout. So you just want to find the picks to include with the highest possible win rate. And, the way you do that in an easy way, unless you have a team of PhDs at your disposal, is you compare to sportsbook odds, right? Like use the book odds, even if you don't use BetOnline, DraftKings, Caesars, they're a source of information. They all have Mike Conley heavily favored to go under. And that's why this play is winning above 54.25% of the time and is profitable in a PrizePicks entry. If you win your bets 57% of the time, if you can win these over-unders 57% of the time, just like Conley over under 24.5, you're going to be super profitable on PrizePicks. Your ROI will be 19.25%. So I have some videos, and I've given out this spreadsheet before, just kind of breaking down the math behind PrizePicks, win rate related to what your ROI will be on PrizePicks long-term. But again, what PrizePicks is banking on is most people don't have an advantage. And if you don't have an advantage, you're only going to win these over-unders 50% of the time. If you're only winning 50% of the time, your ROI is negative 25%. Win 50% of your plays, lose 50% of your plays. That's having no advantage. Whereas on PrizePicks, you got to win 55, only losing 45% of your picks to be profitable. So it's like, okay, we cleared out a lot of the value on PrizePicks. Underdog Fantasy, same thing. There's some other bets actually coming up for the Warriors game, which, maybe could go with. We can see if there's any new bets on Fliff, right? Like, the market's moving. There's injuries. Wiggins isn't playing. All this stuff moves around lines. So, but these plays, it's like pretty low profit margin. I mean, whatever. And again, like I try to focus on all the main books, but on these live streams, but there's 215 sports books out there on OddsJam, like, Cut, Bovada, FanDuel, like Circa, Vegas. I don't know what books you use. There can be value on any book. All these books screw up. FanDuel has tens of thousands of lines available for each league, right? This is just one NBA game, and you can see all the stuff they have up, all these lines. They're trying to set it independently. All injuries, lineup changes, sharp action. They're trying to keep their lines in check with the rest of the market. They're not going to be perfect at it. But a lot of these more niche books, like I'll give you an example, ParlayPlay. So this platform, I literally signed up to take advantage of the $100 deposit match. You put in 100, you get 100 for free. And there's a lot of good bets. A lot of good bets on ParlayPlay. So we can go through some examples. So we have the Detroit Pistons, one of the shittiest teams in the league. And the first play OddsJam's recommending is we take Cade Cunningham over 25.5 points plus assists. So let's take a look at Cade. All the other sports books have his line at 26.5 with the over favored, right? Like Underdog, 26.5. DraftKings, 26.5. Over is favored. There's more juice towards the over. So it's like, okay, that seems like a great play to go with, right? We got Rozier under 6.5 assists. So again, like the strategy is the same on ParlayPlay. They don't change your payout. You take the over, you take the under, you get the same payout. So if you look at Terry Rozier, all the books have him super heavily favored to go under, right? So we're using market information to our advantage. But it doesn't look like there's really enough bets. Well, I'll put combo props back in. So we want Cooks and Lockett under 91.5 receiving yards. So this plays for tonight. So what else do we got? Hughes plus Bratt over 6.5 shots on goal. And what else do we got? We already have Rozier. We already have a play in the Devils Flyers game, right? However, there are some, there's some other plays available. A lot of overs and shots on goals, it looks like, available today. I mean, sometimes, again, if that's where the value is, fuck it. That's where the value is. So we have Matt's over 5.5. And we can just make a slip real quick. Again, the hard part of sports betting is just putting in the time. It's not like any of this stuff is like rocket science, kind of using sportsbook odds. It's just kind of, doing it. So you see here, right? Like the optimal slip type on ParlayPlay, as crazy as it sounds, is a 7-leg parlay, 75x payout. But if you go through the math, that's what's optimal. That's what's going to have the highest ROI long-term. Just like I've done for PrizePicks, I have videos about stuff like that. So the max bet size they're going to give me is $35. So again, like the hard part is, even if I have the most amazing play on ParlayPlay and I have a 30% ROI, if I'm only able to bet a max of $35 with a 30% ROI, that means $10 in profit a day. Not that exciting. So getting down the volume, placing a lot of bets is what's important. It's not hard to get an edge. What's hard to do is deal with the variance, the ups and downs, and also just place a shit ton of bets on a daily basis to make it worthwhile and make thousands of dollars a month sports betting, which anyone can do. This play has a 10% profit margin. It's clear as day. All these other books have the under super heavily favored. We got it at plus 100. So the downfall of the Lakers, do we want to bet on that? I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, I'm a Lakers boy, but we can bet on it. No problem betting against my own team. Again, I fully take my emotions out of sports betting. So we want to go to quarters. Knowing how to navigate these books quickly is definitely helpful, right? We want the Thunder minus 3.5, $250, 2.41% profit margin. So this bet has like $7 in profit margin in EV, however you want to think about it. Or like $6. Shaden Sharp under 3.5 assists. So this is a play. Sharp has been a crazy player to bet on. I mean, sometimes I bet on his under 3.5 assists. A lot of times there's a lot of value on his under. He's cashed in the first quarter on me, screwing my under. Other times he has, 2 assists all game after having 2 in the first quarter. So, controversial player in my mind. But again, I'm never going to think I can just outsmart the market, with my gut. So, and again, it may seem counterintuitive. Whoa, we bet his under in assists on Fliff, but, we bet his over on ParlayPlay and rebounds, but whatever, right? It's all about price. It's all about value. Facebook is probably a great stock to sell if you could sell it at $500. It's trading in the market at $324. If you could buy Facebook at $100, that would be a great deal. Everything depends on value, price. So we go back here and we can take a look. So it's like, boom, boom. We already bet this. Whoa, some plays coming up in the next game. We can see any news come out in the next game. Any injuries, stuff like that. I don't know. It doesn't really look like it. So we cleared out ParlayPlay. Cleared ParlayPlay out of a lot of the value. Whoa, but you can see here, it's like, what is going on? It looks like a lot of plays are kind of popping up in the Jazz game, right? As well as the next Pistons game. So Mitchell Robinson, all the books have him favored to go under 10.5 rebounds. So sometimes, like, you know, whoa. So lines are moving around like crazy here. You can see there's some other good bets on PrizePicks. Jordan Clarkson favored to go over 17.5 points. I apologize, but let's take a look. What do we want to go with? So we locked in a lot of these plays. And again, there's a lot of opportunity on FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet365, all the other books. I just really try to focus on the main sports books in these videos, in these live streams. So Conley, it looks like lines are moving like crazy. So what is the deal with Conley? So he's went over every game, 4 out of the last 5 games. But again, like, every game is different. Did something happen in this game? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see, but the market's clearly moving. And kind of the prime example of why everything depends on value is, like, even if you think Damian Lillard, oh, he's such an amazing player, I would never bet against Dame, is like, you can literally place a bet on Fliff and FanDuel and make a risk-free profit. So if you don't believe me that Dame going under 3.5 threes is a good bet, it's like, okay, whatever. You know, I'll literally prove to you that you can make a risk-free profit, right? Playing him on Fliff, playing his under. So if you think Dame, no way, he's going over. Well, what you can do is you can bet the over. So Fliff has a max bet size of 250. So this betting strategy is called arbitrage. So you can see the calculator, the arbitrage calculator, tells me to bet 230 on Dame's over 3.5 made threes. So just imagine you bet this, right? It doesn't seem to make any sense if you're new to arbitrage betting. Why would I bet his over and his under? Why would I bet his over on FanDuel and his under on Fliff? And it's kind of like stock trading. Imagine you could buy Facebook at $200 and sell it on a different platform at $400. You know, that would be a no-brainer. And that's essentially what we're doing here. So this is risk-free money. So it takes 2 seconds to lock in these bets. Go lock in these bets and you'll make a risk-free profit of $20 for 5 seconds of work, right? So basically, if Dame goes over 3.5 made threes, and I follow this calculator, the only thing I did is I rounded the arbitrage calculator, 229.36, kind of a random number. Don't want to sketch out the sports books. Round it up to 230. So if Dame goes over, on FanDuel, I make 230 times 1.18, right? I bet 230 at plus 118 odds. So that's $271 in profit, right? You can literally go to FanDuel if you don't believe me, or, some people would be like, how is 250 at plus 118 odds? It's like, that's just how odds work. Like, I'm not sure what to tell you. So if you go to Dame, right, $230 means you're winning 271.40, exactly as it says here, right? If you bet him to go over. So if he goes over, we would win 271 on FanDuel, 271.40. We lose 250 on Fliff. Our net profit is $21. Now, on the other hand, if he goes under, on FanDuel, we're going to lose 230. If he goes under, if he has 3, 2, 1, 0 threes. So if he goes under, we lose 230 on FanDuel, right? But on Fliff, we win 250, right? We're betting 250 at plus 150 at plus 100 odds. So we're betting 250 at plus 100, 250 to win 250. So we once again make $20. No matter what happens, I make a risk-free profit of $20. So this strategy is a really low-risk strategy called arbitrage betting, and it kind of shows you the power of using math, using data in sports betting. So one strategy that's pretty awesome. Ooh, so we got some college basketball plays. So we could lock in another PrizePicks. Look at this, 7.5 to 6.5. Obviously, we didn't jump on that quick enough. But again, like, you want books to move lines in your favor. Just like if you're an investor, if you buy Facebook at $324.66 and it goes up to $400, that's a good thing. right? Like the line moved in your direction. It's the same thing in sports betting. Obviously, I didn't get this bet down, but that just proves how profitable it was, right? And that doesn't mean it's a lock, it's guaranteed to win. I'm not going to spew any bullshit. It just means it's a good bet with an edge. So Mitchell Robinson under 10.5 rebounds. Again, they're playing, the Pistons, the worst team in the NBA. So who knows even how many minutes he'll play. So we have Mitchell Robinson under 10.5. We have Posh Alexander under 4.5 assists. So we go to college basketball, right? We have Posh Alexander under, and you can see they already bumped it down to 4. So again, like bumps, you got to move quickly. Just knowing how to navigate these sports books when you're arbitrage betting, you want to make a risk-free profit tonight of $20. Like, let me buy you dinner. Like just, $480. You're turning that into $500 in one night. You get your money back tonight. This is a risk. Where else can you earn a risk-free profit of 4% in one day? It's literally insane. If you think about it, like that's how crazy just understanding sports betting math is. So you can make a risk-free profit of 4% in one day. Imagine what that compounds to in 1 month. So we go to player threes, right? You bet this under for $250. You bet this over for $230. You're making a risk-free profit over $20. What is better than that? Nothing. Here's some other arbitrage bets. This one's between FanDuel and DraftKings. Pull up the arbitrage calculator, determine how much you want to bet, make a risk-free profit. It all adds up, right? You hit a couple of these arbitrage bets every single day. This one, 4%, you hit this. Takes you 30 seconds max to do. You make a risk-free $20. Do that 5 times in a day. You're talking about $100 risk-free profit a day, $36K risk-free in a year. Insane. Right? So, Conley under 6.5 assists. I mean, how do we feel about it? So we can go here and we can go to Conley, or I need to go to the Jazz game. And we might as well lock it in. I mean, it's it's not as crazy as the arbitrage bet, maybe not as crazy as a profit margin, but I mean, whatever, we can lock it in. So we'll go ahead and add this to the list, and we have a shit ton of bets on Fliff right now. On this live stream, I think we've locked in 1, 2, 3. So I'll just share my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bets from this live stream. This bet I placed before, I think on a previous live stream. I don't even remember, to be honest. So we can go back here, and it's like, okay, what else you got for us? So honestly, we kind of cleared out all the value on Fliff. Again, you can put in FanDuel, DraftKings. I'm sure there's good bets. I'm 100% sure there's good bets. So we go here. It's like, okay, like this is a lot of the same shit, a lot of the same plays we're kind of seeing over and over. Kind of cleared out a lot of the value there. Underdog Fantasy cleared out a lot of the value. Same with ParlayPlay. So, I mean, we could move on to other sports books, Hot Streak. But, I'm trying to get some lunch. So you can see there's some good bets, on FanDuel popping up for Sunday. Again, bet them now, right? First quarter total points in the Packers-Chiefs game. Hit that shit. And arbitrage bets, like you never know when the best arbitrage bets are going to occur. Sometimes it's injuries, line movements. I mean, right? Like, you never know when the best arbitrage bets are going to occur. So the more you can just like check Odds Jam, see if there's anything, the better, the more money you're going to make. But anyways, we'll call it a day for now. Hit like 3 PrizePicks slips, an underdog slip, and 9 bets on Fliff. Pretty productive live stream. And thanks so much for your time.